How's it going, everyone? Yeah, today it's time to move on to our driver board. We got our CPU working half-assed. It's working, but I'm still missing a couple of segments on my numbers on 2 digits. But we're going to move forward and get our driver board ready. So we can boot the game up, and I don't think it's going to change anything. And throughout this video or the next video, you may see a different CPU board in here, because I'm going to keep working on this. Like I said, I'm still 1 and 3 digits are missing segments. If you remember, it looked like it was going to be a 4 or whatever, but it's supposed to be 2 9s, 9 9. And it's through all of them. It's doing it on all of them, so. And I've reworked the whole display area on this board. Down through, I've changed every chip imaginable. Just giving it a shotgun effect, because it would just... it's throwing fits. So I'm gonna leave it alone for now, because it's kind of getting a little tedious, but we'll get back on it again. And I want to get the game up and booting so we can test some things and see if anything else is working or what else we need to do. Can't spend a week screwing with that thing. So what we're going to do is we are going to move forward, and we are going to pull our driver board out and check it all over and see if we need to do anything with it. And we're going to go ahead and put the diodes in our cable here to protect the MPU, CPU, if we ever have a problem with a solenoid or switch. So that's the plan anyway, is to get this all ready, get it hooked up, so we can turn the machine on and have everything all hooked up and see if we get some solenoid action or whatever. But that's where we're at. Been kind of a long process with that CPU. That one, if you remember, that's the one I bought, supposedly used working. Well, it was missing segments in our numbers. It was the same thing. We were missing segments in 1 digit and the 3rd digit. I don't know about these ones until we actually get everything booted. So I'd kind of like to get it all booted up so I can see what else, if we're missing anything else, we can do some scoring and see if we are missing any more segments. Can't be the display, because that would mean all 4 of them are bad. That all 4 of them are missing or are bad, which that would be odd. As you can see, the longer we keep this on, they're starting to brighten up. And some of these, the glass starts getting weak in them, and if they sit for quite a while, they don't want to light up. But the more you keep them powered up, the better they get. You know, you can see them in there. 1 and 2's not bad. 3 and 4 are pretty bad, especially here and here. There's nothing lighting up there yet. But on these system ones, we got to protect our CPU by fixing up our driver board. So let me get the driver board pulled out of there, and we'll start working on it. Okay, we got our driver board out, and all we're going to do is be looking for similarities in these driver transistors. And you know, you've watched me do this before, but, you know, in case somebody is just tuning in, you take your positive, I'm pretty sure it's the positive in this one, yeah. Take your positive, lead to your digital multimeter, and touch the middle leg and the outside leg, and see we have 1.33, and on the other leg we have 0.73. Now go to the next one, and we have 1.33 and 0.73. Same thing on the next one, 1.34 and 0.73. Last one, 0.132 and 0.728. Now, chances of all four of those being bad are slim. Here's a similar one right down here. We'll test it too and see if we get the same thing. 1.33, 0.727. So you can see the chances of all five of those being bad is really slim. And so you kind of figure, okay, those five are good because they all test the same. So you figure those ones are good. And now the bigger ones, I think the negative is our center. Negative on our center pin. And these are going to test pretty much like a regular diode. Oh, like I forgot to mention that set your multimeter to diode test to check these. See, we have 0.65 and 0.55. Do the same with the next one. 0.60, 0.52, 0.65, 0.53. We'll come down and check the last four down here. We have 0.64, 0.53, 0.64, 0.53, 0.64, 0.55, 0.66, 0.54. Same thing. Now, very slim chances that all seven of those are bad. You know, but yeah, it could happen. But if they all test similar, pretty good chance that they're all good. And you know, we now know that all those, where we got 5, all 12 of those transistors are good. The way we test them, the way I test them. And to test this bottle cap, same thing, your bolt's going to be your ground, and then you test your two pins. 0.57. And let's see, reverse. Nothing. Now, it could be that bottle cap is bad because the one leg is not tested. We will, or it could be that we're getting nothing because it's in circuit, and some of them you just cannot test in circuit. I can get this stinking little bag open. I have a new bottle cap here. There's a new one. We'll test this one on the bench. Outside is your ground. Nope. Nothing. there it is, 0.62, and nothing. We'll swap them around, and see, that one we're getting the same test as what's on here. 0.57 and nothing. So chances are that bottle cap is good too, because it tests the same as a brand new one. Now what I'll do is I'll go through, these are our solenoid driver and these are our lights. And this big row of transistors along there, all those little ones, those are our lights, or switches, excuse me. And we will 1.3. You can do this on the top side or the bottom side. 0.73. Check the next one next to it. 1.33. 0.73. One more, just to be safe. 1.34. 0.73. Okay, so 9 chances out of 10 those three are good, so they all of those should test the same as those first three. And if they all test out good, then we know our driver board, the transistors are good. Now our driver chips up here, we won't know until we actually start playing the game and messing around with the game and start troubleshooting just to see if maybe we have a bad chip. Like I said, I see somebody has changed the one here, which is okay, and one of the little ones, it looks like they used a used one, and on the back side they didn't even trim the legs off of it. And you can see we've got one small transistor change there, one there, one there, one there, and one down here. So that, you know, this board has been worked over pretty good. And somebody has been using it and taking care of it and keeping it up, because overall it is in good shape. So I'm going to get all these tested out and make sure everything's good. And if everything's good, our driver board's ready to go back in, and we'll work on our cable to protect our CPU. Now all of our transistors check out. So this bottom half of the board is good. I went ahead and installed our ground. It goes on C1. On the bottom half you can see the top is plus and your bottom is minus. So that's your ground. And yes, I did go check it up, make sure. And what that does is we'll ground that to the inside of the back box, and that grounds the board a little better. There's other ground mods that you can do to this that I don't know if they're really necessary or not, but some people do them. Where you take all your ground traces and tie them all together. Here to here. Here to here. Here to here, and then up and around, and this one up and over, one over here. Yeah, a lot of grounding you can do on these boards to strengthen them up, but most people like doing just this one. That one usually seems to help the whole board. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fix this cable. Cute. We're going to fix this cable so we don't have any signal going up to our CPU. And what we're going to do is we'll start, on these you need to put a diode in wire 8, 9, 11, 18, 19, 20, and 21. That way we can have our signal coming down through to the solenoid board, but if we have a feedback, it will not go back up into the CPU. You use 1N4004 diodes. You can see I have a little box of bunch of different diodes. A lot of this stuff I get from Genco Electronics. Now on your diode, you can see there's a little white band on one end. That is the negative side. You want the white band pointing down towards your driver board. See, that way the signal can come in past the little yellow white band, but the signal cannot go back past that, going back that way. So we're going to install those in the wire, and then we'll heat shrink it. So that'll protect our CPU in case there's a problem coming up from the play field. We can just burn up transistor and a driver board, and we won't send excess signal back into the CPU. And what that normally does is it'll blow the U4 and U5 chip, and those two are the hardest ones to get a hold of. The other ones you can get pretty decent ones. You can find good ones on other boards, but the 4 and 5 are the ones that always get fried by the driver board or acid damage. So those two are the hardest to get a hold of. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and start working on this. I'll get one done, show you what I'm doing, and then I'll finish up and we'll be ready to put this back in. Alright, you can see that's the first one done. And then what I'll do is I'll just pull my shrink tube up over it and shrink it down. And you can see that now that it'll go, the signal will come into the board, but it won't go back up to the CPU. And that's the whole idea, to protect the CPU. Even if you put in even if you put in a new one, a new CPU, and you're working with one of the System 1's, one of the first games, which is Cleopatra. Let's see, what the hell is it? Cleopatra, Joker Poker, and Sinbad. And we're working with Sinbad. All have these driver boards that don't have the diodes on it to protect the CPU. Even if you do put in a new CPU, I think the new CPUs have from New Wumpf or Pascal have the diodes in the new CPU. But just to be safe, you can go ahead and put them in. If you put them in and you're using your old CPU and then you buy a new one, you're protected. The cable still can be used with the new ones and the old ones. This will not hurt anything in a new CPU. So I'll get the rest of these done and all shrink wrapped, and then we'll get her put back together and see what we come up with. Now our solenoid board is all serviced and ready to go. You can see where I put in the diodes. Got them all cleaned up, looks nice, ready to go. Cleaned all the contacts on the board, got the ground on it, put the ground on the CPU. I think we're ready to turn it on. Got everything all hooked up. Let's turn it on, see what happens. Okay, so far so good. The boot, yeah. Back up booted. Didn't reset anything. See what happens when we push start. Yeah. She reset. Oops. I hit the flipper. Had some flipper action. Let's see what. See, that should be a 5 and it looks like a 9. Extra ball. Didn't light though. Up to 4 times. Yeah. So far, so good. Looks like 110. Well, let's see. Yeah, gave us a game. We're supposed to be at 110. But that'll have to be fixed with our, I'm sure, our settings. There's the extra ball. She's counting down the balls. What's the next game? 180. Oh, shit. Ball 3. Okay, yeah, I do have it set on 5 ball. Last ball. Four times. And game over. Well, hell. Oh, we didn't test the bumpers. Let's see. Those targets come up a little slow. Sticky. Yeah. Never was too fond of them plastic spinners, and it definitely needs some help. Yeah, I think needs clean. Let's see, advanced one lit. Oh, okay, I see, it counts. Well, so far so good. Looks like we're in pretty good shape now. Along with, with our solenoid board, looks good. Everything's working on it. And we do have some lights out, which will be no big deal. And still, like I said, just kind of have to bear with me on this MPU until I figure out what the hell is wrong with it, or I get another one. See, that's supposed to be a 2 and it looks like a 6. Backwards. 3. 4. See, the 5 looks like a 9. And the 9, well, it does look like a 9 anyway. And okay, so now we can see that our first, second, and third digits are screwed up. That kind of helps me out a little bit as far as trying to track down either what's going on, if I can fix this one or not. But looks like looks pretty good. Let's see, 10,000. Looks like she's keeping track of score too, ball and everything. So looks like our troubleshooting is not going to be too bad when we get done with the play field. Yeah, let's get this done here. Now let's see if it'll start a 4-player game. Chimes sound a little clunky. 2, 3, 4. Now the 4th player, we need to 4. Huh, you seeing what I'm seeing? It almost looks like we have a problem with our 1-player display. That one works good. I don't see any problems with that one. No, we're not going to be able to see much on 3rd. There's 5. There's 1, 2, 3 looks good. Yeah, we gotta. That display looked good too. Our problem is with our first display. Let's take a look at it and see if we can't figure out what the hell's going on there. Okay, I swapped the displays around and put 2 into 1 and 1 into 2, and you can see it is that display. We have something going on with our display on that one, number 2, which is, I had it in number 1. But anyway, I have a complete board here with a bad glass because the nipples broke off of it. So I can do one or two things. I can either take the glass off of that one and off of this one and put it on here on this board, or I'm going to take a look in the schematics and see. I'm sure this chip drives these 3 and this chip drives these 3, and on our number 2 display these 3 are the ones that are screwed up. So it's probably this chip here, which Oh, I can't read it. There we go. It's a JOW6118A chip. And what I can do is I'll go ahead and I think I'll just pull it off of this board and swap it and see if we can't get that display to straighten out. So that's going to be fun, huh? Hopefully this will take care of it. I'm still not sure about our high score being kind of screwed up, but we may have to, that may be in our settings. So let's swap out some chips and see what happens. Ooh, tater chips. Now you can see I changed that chip. It's a little different. I didn't put a socket on it for two reasons. One reason, it probably would have been stick out a little too far here. And the second reason is I didn't have any 18-pin sockets. That's the big one. Okay. Now you can see. 2, 3, 4 looks good. 5 looks good. 6 looks good. 7, 8, and the big one, 9. So that took care of our display issue, where we were kind of hovering. A couple of these we had lines up above, and lines that weren't supposed to be in, segments that weren't supposed to be in there. So now we have two good displays, and that one's trying to light up and that one's trying to light up. I leave it on as much as possible because the more I leave it on, the brighter they get. Come on. Doesn't always want to kick it out. Well, see what those other two. You can see we got 2 digits here that aren't lit. I could probably change that chip and see if I can't get those 2 to light. And that one's finally starting to come around as well. If you see with it closed, they're a little dim, but they are coming around. Next I'll work on this one. I took both chips off of that bad display I had, and let's go ahead and change this one and see if that does anything for us on this display. Okay, finally got it straightened out, got the CPU straightened out. While I was working on the driver board and got it all put back together, that'll be in the next episode after this one. As I was working through the driver board and all that, I got to thinking about it and was thinking, well, you know, maybe I have a bad 7417 chip. I put a brand new one in, and you know, we had the same result. That's why I was kind of going through and changing some other chips that all lead up to and through that 17. Or no, that's not the 17. These are the 17s here. These are the 7448s. Sorry. The 7448s is what is at the end that drives the segments. And I had changed it and nothing. I changed the bottom one, nothing. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe while I was working on that, I was thinking, well, you know, maybe you ought to try another 7448 in it. So I grabbed two more new ones, I should say, and popped both of those in, and lo and behold, it cleared up. Now I have the high score. I was pissing around with it after I put the new 7448s in. I was messing around, went into the test mode, and well, you'll see later on. But anyway, we are all squared away with our CPU. Alright, I changed out that. This is a 6118, either a C or an A, off of that old display that was had a busted nipple on the glass. And we got our last two segments back. So, thank God. Now those, they may brighten up some more. I know the number 2 display brightened up considerably after we keeping them on. They seem to be kind of rejuvenating a little bit, but they may not come back bright enough, really. I mean, if the lights are out, you know, yeah, you could see them. They're bright enough to actually play. But they're good for right now. Somewhere down the road, I may go ahead and swap out, get 2 new ones, and build us wolf packs and put 2 new ones down the bottom. Or what I'll do is I'll put the 2 new ones up top and take those 2 and put them down to 3 and 4. Just so we have the new ones up top that are always being used. But we'll see. We'll see what those do. Like I said, it took a long time for number 4 to actually start coming on and brightening up. But that may be the extent of it for those 2. And I kind of pissed around and set the high score low so I could test it. You know, and that'll we'll be testing that stuff again when we start doing some troubleshooting on this. I don't think there's going to be much troubleshooting now after getting that MPU all squared away and doing our test. We can, let's see. There's a bunch of crap here in the beginning that I have no clue. There's our high score. We can set that higher the next time. And let's see, that's our displays. See that one? You know, there. And then 2 and 4. Working pretty good. And there's our lights. It doesn't stay on for long enough to actually test everything. And that's our solenoid test. And that's about the extent of what you can do. With your self-tests. All right, so I'm happy. We got the solenoid driver board all squared away. I got the diodes put in the harness so we don't have a feedback up through to our CPU. We put the ground, external ground on both boards, so that should all be solid and reliable now. We tested some stuff. Some stuff's working. Some stuff works a little too good. It sticks. So that'll be later on. We'll get that squared away. We got our displays all straightened out. So hopefully we're in good shape now. So I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. And next we're going to tackle the play field. So I hope to see you on the next episode. Until then, see ya.